We got a couple things, mainly giving it the exhaust that it deserves. It'll sound better, it won't scrape everywhere. The other day when I was driving this car, I randomly would just lose all power. Could very well be the problem considering 20 plus years old.
I mean, it's game over. Hey, good. Yeah, absolutely.
The roof rack didn't last very long on the Eclipse. That one is super cheap and it fit terrible. I couldn't get it to fit right. It kept trying to come loose, which don't want that flying off on the highway, that's for sure. She's back looking beautiful and back on the channel though. Today, we got to give it a little bit of TLC, a couple of things, mainly the exhaust. We're gonna give it the exhaust it deserves because ever since the beginning, this car, the exhaust has been falling apart. I did put a new muffler on it. It's a little dirty, pardon that. We'll clean that up at some point too. But this here is a new muffler that I got more recently. I threw it on. It's basically the same size as the old one, and it's a burnt tip like the old one, but the old one was just completely falling apart. It had no insulation left in it. It rattled. It was terrible. So it has a new muffler, and I've done a few different things. I re-welded one of the front pipes so that it fit better, but we're gonna be redoing all that yet again because it's leaky. The clearance is very bad. It's very close to the ground and it hits a lot on stuff. That's what we're gonna take care of today. Finally give this thing the exhaust it deserves. Hopefully it won't leak anymore. It'll sound better. It won't scrape everywhere, and it's gonna make the driving quality of this car so much better. Got my boy with me. He's kind of deflating a little bit actually. You good, homie? You good? You kind of deflated. You should just relax there, bud. First thing I want to look at is the other day when I was driving this car, I randomly would just lose all power. Almost like the car was going to limp mode, or like shutting off while driving and then like kind of sputtering and starting back up. Really weird, but what I did notice was the tachometer would go down to 0 and then the car would just kind of like lose all power. There's no other way to describe it. It's running fine today. I think it might be the crank sensor is losing signal. We're gonna check the wiring first once we get this thing up off the ground, and then we can start working on the exhaust. So two things I noticed. First, well, it seems we still have a valve cover gasket leak and possibly a small axle seal leak. That's always nice. But the crank sensor's up here. So you can see I'm kind of pointing to it right now. The wires go back here. And then this is where I connected that connector in with the harness. The first thing I noticed is there's this little line on the axle, and it appears that the wires had been touching it. I can't visually see right now any like spots where it could have worn through, but it definitely could have.
A few moments later.
All right, so I did go ahead and redo the wire connections. Not only were they way too long, but they were kind of sketch. I don't know if that was actually the problem or not, but nevertheless, they're redone now and they're in a much safer position. Took the car out for a quick little spin yesterday, got it completely warmed up, everything was good, but then I had it back here at the house idling. I started to like stutter. I could hear it. I was actually in the shop and the car was sitting out here idling. I could hear it start to stutter and idle drop, and then it finally just shut off. So I came out and tried to restart it, would not restart. I still think it's a crank sensor, but I don't think it was wiring related, although that wiring was kind of sketchy. It's not uncommon when these do fail. They'll only fail when the car is like completely warmed up, because then they expand enough, oil gets in them and fouls out the sensor. So that could very well be the problem considering it's probably like 20 plus years old. To test the theory, if the car starts up fine right now that it's been a day and it's completely cold, then we need to swap the sensor. Oh yeah, that's it. I think I have a spare crank sensor too, so let's go ahead and get that swapped out. pretty sure my foam cannon broke. Either that or it's clogged or something, but still managed to clean the car up a little bit. It looks a lot better.
And at this point is when things started to take a little bit of a wrong turn. We had figured out the crank sensor issue. The car was running great. So before we got started on the exhaust, me and Eli took it out for a little test run. And on the way back, the most ironic timing ever, we got pulled over. And, well, let's roll the footage.
Jimmy, it's game over. What? Jimmy, Hey, good. Yeah, absolutely. License in my pocket. Registration's over there.
Do you know your reason for me today? Yeah, a few reasons. Your exhaust is picking up on it.
What did he say? What did he say?
Your inspection's up.
Yeah, we just, I bought this car in May with a blown engine.
Okay.
And we've been rebuilding it, and
Okay.
I'm trying to get it inspected, so we drove it to McDonald's, and,
Okay.
you know, so it's, you know, I understand.
All right.
Work
Then
in
just no
progress,
front
but-
plate on it. Do you have the plate with you by chance?
Yeah, it's right there. I didn't have screws for it.
Alrighty. Well, let me just check out your license, and then I'll be right back with you, okay?
Alright, thank you.
Let's just make the freaking force this. How many times have you been pulled over in this? 0.
This will be the third.
You want French fry bio?
Sure, sure, boss. Big cup muffler, you called it?
What does that even mean?
Oh, it means there's a cup. It's
Oh.
a muffler.
Big cup muffler. Is
Big
that
cup
like
muffler.
the tip? The exhaust tip?
Well, I mean, he heard it, so it's not illegal to have a big exhaust tip.
That's true. She's gonna see us.
Oh, she saw that.
Well, obviously.
Alright, sir. So, what I did is, nothing for the inspection or the no front plate.
Okay.
I went with the muffler instead because that's actually a correction slip. Quote unquote fix it ticket.
Yeah.
Fair
All
enough.
right. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. All right.
Alrighty?
Appreciate it.
Alright, man.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Okay, you want to hold it? Thanks.
What do you have to say to the camera?
Bye.
All right, so you gotta admit, that's kind of ironic timing because we're literally in the middle of filming this video of us redoing the exhaust on the Eclipse, so kind of works out, I guess. I've had good luck with getting pulled over considering how the state of New York is with this car, with what is and is not done to it. It's just part of being a car guy. You just have to not care. But I did get this exhaust ticket. The cop was nice. They've all been nice to me, the ones that have pulled me over. They understand the situation that I bought the car and I rebuilt it, and you know, it's a work in progress. The fix-it ticket though. There's a couple different ways you can deal with it, but the best way is to simply whatever it is in the ticket, which in this case, the ticket is for inadequate / no muffler. If you heard it in the clip, he said I had one of the cup mufflers. So essentially what that means is that muffler, the state of New York does not consider it a muffler when it's just like the little fiberglass pack with a tip. So basically I have to throw a muffler on it and get it, you know, inspected. Thankfully, I have a solution to all my problems in the form of a stock PT Cruiser muffler, which kind of worked out. So ticket aside, guys, I've honestly been debating putting some sort of different muffler on the car, as well as, you know, cleaning up the exhaust, because even with no exhaust leaks, it's still, you know, it's a 2-liter NA 4-cylinder, and it's gonna sound like crap pretty much no matter what. I put that muffler on. That did barely anything to quiet the car down, I'm not gonna lie. And we do have a little bit of exhaust leak up front, so that doesn't help. Between the two, the car sounds a little bit like crap and a little bit noisy, and that's what I want to fix today. So this right here is the stock muffler off of my PT Cruiser GT. This thing has not seen the light of day in a long time. It's been sitting up in the loft of this shop since I've measured around, and I found that there's really no way to fit it further up the line. I'm gonna put it in place of this for now. What I want to do eventually is take this muffler, put it back on the end, and then fit another muffler further up. So I'm going to throw the PT muffler in the back. We're going to fix our exhaust leaks, swap oil pans, get everything fitting better, and hopefully get this inspected in time. First thing I'm going to do is finish welding this oil pan. I went ahead and cut out the spot that had the little cutoff tube hole here in the side. I welded it up with this plate. It's pretty well sealed up, but I want to be safe, and I'm going to weld another plate on the inside here. I already have it cut and bent so that it looks like it'll fit pretty good right in there like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and weld that in real quick, make sure it's not gonna leak, get everything cleaned up, and then we can start swapping oil pans. here's a final look at our new like upper mid-pipe section that we just built. I mean, the welds aren't the best. I use the good old Harbor Freight Flux Core MIG, and I am still a noob at welding, but all things considered, they turned out pretty good. As far as like I can tell with the light, there is no leaks, not even a pinhole. Some of these pipes didn't fit up perfect, like this was slightly bigger than the rest, so I had to do some filling, you know, some not ideal stuff. But when you take a look at this clip of the old little bazooki pipe that made up the mid pipe, that was just a bunch of cobbled up crap, this is a lot freaking better.
20 minutes later.
I think that's a little bit better. No more exhaust hanging down under the car, and hopefully no more extremely leaky exhaust. I forgot to record on the camera, but I just went ahead and cut that off. I got the other muffler on a transmission jack that'll hold it while we get it lined up and weld it on real quick. All right, I got the muffler welded in there the best I could. It's a little off center, and I need to modify the end hanger just so that it holds itself up a little more because it hangs too low. That is the last I'm gonna talk about that muffler, because I don't want to talk about it. It's on there to get rid of the ticket, then we'll swap over and redo the muffler setup. I am freezing cold, so let's go ahead and fire up the car and hear how it sounds for the first time with the new exhaust. No more leaks. Let's see what we're working with. Still got a little noise to it. Sounds really nice though. All right, quick walk around to the car here, even though it's dark out, so we can hear it. Now that I'm listening to it up close, I wonder if the flange up here, I'm having the same issue that I have with the flange up ahead. There's basically two bolt-up flanges for the exhaust. There's one further up, and then there's one like where the muffler section at the end would normally bolt up. Sounds like it's leaking a little there. The gasket was shot on the one in the front before, so I just used like a copper gasket maker, and that is completely sealed up, as you can hear. But that's just leaking a little, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably reseal that. That's the last thing I have to do to get this perfect. It sounds like a PT Cruiser. And it looks disgusting, but it should get us out of the ticket. So we can get that just $0 completely clean. I was honestly wondering when I would end up getting a ticket with this car, because there were a couple things that were not up to par. You know, it's been a work in progress. You guys know what it's like having an old car and, you know, kind of restoring it, but, you know, getting it back together over time. I got to get a muffler that is the right dimensions that'll fit in place of the further up resonator. That'll hopefully quiet the car down the perfect amount, and then we can go ahead and put that other muffler back in the rear. Said it looks nice, it muffles it a little bit more, and that should be the perfect volume at that point. In the future, when the car has a turbo, we could always take that muffler out in the middle section and put like a straight pipe, because the turbo kind of acts as a muffler itself. Next episode you see will be on the big turbo PT Cruiser, which is not in here, it's outside, covered in snow. We got a manual swap that we have to get rolling, and that will be what you will see in the next video. So stay tuned, that should be out soon. Thank you guys so much for watching this quick little Eclipse video. You rock, God bless, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.